It's a rainy and muddy day here on the farm, so today we're out here in the shop making a little bit of a mess. I got a couple of projects I want to work on. I've been waiting on a day just like this to keep me from being outside so I can be inside in the shop working on things. But today we're going to start on our first project, and that is going to be a bee stand. I've wanted to be a beekeeper for a while, and this is the first year I've ordered some bees, and I'm going to get the bees here and try to make that happen. And I've already got the hives, but now I just need a stand. I've been looking online, and a lot of people suggest stands. That way you get the bees off the ground, out where it's wet. Where we live here on the farm, it's pretty flat, so water stands for a while after it rains. It takes a few days to dry out. So we're gonna get the beehives off the ground. And to do that, we're gonna make a stand just out of some reclaimed posts that I found on the farm, as well as some new lumber I bought. But all it's gonna take is some 4x4, in this case I'm using 4x6 posts, a couple of treated 2x4s and a one treated 2x6x8 piece of lumber, and we're going to be able to make a bee stand to get our beehives off the ground, keep them dry year round, and really make it easier to work on because we don't have to bend all the way to the ground when we do that. So here's how I'm going to do it. According to the plans I found online, my first step is I've got to cut 4 legs. Now the plans call for 4x4 posts, but I'm using this 4x6 treated lumber, and I'm using this so I don't have to go buy the 4x4 post. I actually found this is part of an old project. It's been out in the weather. As you can see, it's kind of wet, but it'll still cut fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut 4 legs out of this piece of lumber, and then I'm gonna move to the next step. So you can see I have the 4 legs cut, and so my next step now is to cut the boards that will actually support the beehives. For my horizontal support boards, the plans call for making it 8 feet long, but I've only got 2 bee boxes, so I'm going to make mine half that, and that way I can use just one 2x6x8 piece of lumber. So I'm going to measure this piece of lumber, mark it halfway down, 4 feet, cut it once, and then I'll be ready to go to the next step, which is to cut the support pieces for my legs out of 2x4s. Now that I have my supports cut, now I need supports for the legs. The plans call for 2 supports that are 25 inches across, but instead I've got enough lumber. I'm going to go ahead and cut 4, and that way I can just make the legs a little stouter, so that way over time they don't splay out on the bottom. I've got a support at the bottom as well as the support at the top to tie everything together. So I'm going to cut 4 boards 25 inches long, and then I should have all my pieces cut. Then it's time to assemble. Okay, so here we have the pieces. Got the 4 legs, got the 4 cross leg braces that are made of the 2x4. Again, all this is treated lumber. And I've got the 2 2x6s for the box supports, but also I'm gonna add one more board to the middle to give a little middle support. So I had some 2x4s left over, so I added that as well. Now, it's just a matter of putting the whole thing together. Pretty simple construction, just making a table. I'm not gonna glue it at all, in case I need to take it apart and make it bigger someday. So I'm just going to screw everything together with some long all-weather treated screws, so that way the screws don't rust, and then just in a few minutes I'll have a bee box support ready to deploy. Well, that didn't take long. Again, just using simple construction techniques. I just made a box out of this wood that I cut out. And so you don't have to look up the plans. All I used for this was 1 2x6x8, 2x6, 2 2x4x8, all treated. And then the original plans called for 4x4 posts for the legs, but I used 4x6 because, again, I recycled those. I had them. But whatever you've got around the place or whatever you want to buy will work. Just constructed it like a box, and now I've got a great little stand that when I get my bees here, I can put my bee boxes on top of this, and hopefully they'll do well. In a couple of days, I'll show you, when it dries out, we'll go outside and I'll show you my setup out there. So once I got the beehive stand finished, I had a little sand left over, so I brought this sand over to this spot and made a level pad for it to set on. And the pad is up a little higher. I made a little hump out of it. That way when it rains, all the water runs away from the bee stand. Because this area is getting a little bit, it's got a little bit of slope to it, but it's a little bit flat. But anyway, you can see that the stand I made is going to work out pretty good. So I put the bee box on it just to try it out, see how well it's going to work out. It looks like it's going to work out pretty good. All I've got to do now is check the last level on this bee stand, move a little sand around where I need to level it all up. But I think this is going to make a nice little addition to our garden, and I hope the bees will find this to be a good home.